The Indiana University School of Education is proud to present the dedication ceremony of the Wendell W. Wright Education Building, held on March 26, 1993, in Bloomington, Indiana. The dedication of the building is accompanied by a renewed commitment to the goals, content, and future of education by all who work and study here.
from the belly of the whale, and the Hebrew children from the fiery furnace, then why not every man? Did my Lord deliver Daniel, deliver Daniel, deliver Daniel? Did my Lord deliver Daniel, then why not every man? Did my Lord deliver Daniel, deliver Daniel? Did my Lord deliver Daniel, then why not every man? I said,
Education shall forever be encouraged.
Teachers must inspire as well as instruct.
Friends, welcome. Welcome to this long-awaited occasion to dedicate the new Wendell W. Wright Building, the School of Education. This is a great day for the school and for Indiana University, for all of us who are committed to the pursuit of knowledge, to sharing that pursuit with others. Early in this century, William Lowe Bryant, IU president for 35 years, helped to launch the fledgling School of Education. The school was just then coming into its own after a half a century as a department in the College of Arts and Sciences. And President Bryant set down his thoughts about the goals and the values of education. What the people of Indiana need and demand, he said, is that their children shall have a chance, as good a chance as any other children in the world, to make the most of themselves, to rise in any and every occupation, including those that require the most thorough training. What the people want is open paths from every corner of the state through the schools to the highest and to the best that they can achieve. William Lowe Bryant saw that a strong, a vibrant School of Education at Indiana University was essential to fulfill this mission. He saw that in partnership with school systems across the state, our School of Education was key to the opening of the paths of achievement for Hoosier youth through the preparation of skilled, inspiring teachers, innovative curricula. Throughout the years, the school has benefited from the guidance of outstanding leaders, chief among them Presidents Herman B. Wells and John W. Ryan, the deans of the schools, and none was more influential than Wendell W. Wright, for whom the building is named, who served as dean for a decade and a half in years of dynamic growth during the 1940s and 50s. Education is Indiana's primary resource, and this extraordinary new facility that we dedicate today will carry educational scholarship, teaching, and research for the whole university, a quantum leap forward into the future. Under the leadership of Donald Warren, the school continues to advance as a superb resource for the people of Indiana and for the center. We're proud of the Center for Excellence in Education that's housed in this facility, that's led by Howard Mellinger, former dean. That center is dedicated to the creative use of extraordinary new tools of technology that will be in our hands today, tools that revolutionize the ways we teach and learn and open countless frontiers in education. This stunning facility, all that will be achieved within its walls, would not be possible without strong support, federal and state government, private enterprise, the people of Indiana working together as partners. We wouldn't be here without that support. We're deeply grateful. I'm pleased that 4 members of the Indiana University Board of Trustees have joined us to celebrate this dedication. I ask them to stand as I call their names, and please hold your applause until all have been introduced. John D. Walda, President of the Board from Fort Wayne. Frederick F. Eichorn, Vice President from Hammond. P.A. Mack from Bloomington. And Eric A. Todd from Bloomington. Please join me now in greeting our trustees. And it's now my pleasure to welcome to the lectern the Vice President of Indiana University, Chancellor of Indiana University Bloomington, Ken Gross-Lewis. Ken.
Thank you, Tom. In his 1926 poem, Among School Children, a poem written 6 months after Wendell Wright joined the faculty of Indiana University, William Butler Yeats uses a visit to a Catholic elementary school as a beginning point for consideration of his own origins and ultimately of the origins of meaning. I walked through the long schoolroom questioning, he writes. A kind old nun in a white hood replies. The children learn to cipher and to sing, to study reading books and history, to cut and sew, be neat in everything in the best modern way. The language, the imagery, perhaps even the tone, seem quite distant to us today, equipped as we are with the best of 1990s technology. Certainly this building could not have been imagined by either Yates or Wright. Yet I suspect neither would be surprised if they were here. March 14, 67 years ago, Yates wrote in a white vellum notebook, topic for poem, school children and the thought, perhaps that no possible life can fulfill our dreams or even their teachers' hopes. Bring an old thought that life prepares for what never happens. Think about Yates writing those lines. Think about Wright at the time in his second semester on this faculty. Think about the hopes of each teacher, each faculty member who has walked through the long schoolrooms across Jordan Avenue, who will now teach and learn here in the best modern way. In a sense, Yates was perhaps right that no life can fulfill our dreams. That may be true for a campus as well. Yet the celebration offers the possibility that some hopes are satisfied, some dreams fulfilled. And if the dreams of Andrew Wiley, Herman Wells, Wendell Wright, Howard Mellinger, Don Warren, countless others for this campus, for this school are fulfilled, it will be through a constant awareness of our own origins, our own traditions, as well as new and fresh hopes for the future. In this sense, the building we dedicate today speaks of what we have been, as well as of what we can be. Because this splendid and magnificent structure now houses, in all the senses of that word, as perhaps no other building on any college campus in this country can, the finest of old traditions, the finest of new ways to create knowledge, to find meaning in the best modern way. The source for the last stanza of Yates's poem is an essay called The Reform of Education. The author writes, "The Spirit's being is its alteration. It might therefore be said that those who increase knowledge also increase ignorance if they are unable to trace this knowledge back to its origin." Today, as we celebrate increased knowledge, we also celebrate a glorious tradition that goes back to our origin. For this reason, I'm especially delighted on behalf of the Bloomington campus to welcome you to the ceremony. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. And now to present the Wendell W. Wright Education Building, I welcome John N. Cryer III, Senior Vice President of CRSS Architects of Houston, Texas. And for the acceptance of the building, I'm pleased to invite to the lectern the President of the Board of Trustees of Indiana University, John Walda.
Thank you, President Earlich. Two of the highest, I would say, achievements for an architect in the process of doing a project is one, winning the commission, and then lastly, seeing the final product completed. It's a lot like having a baby. It's a lot of fun at the beginning, and it's tremendous excitement in the end, and it's a little pain and hard work along the way. Back in the summer of 1986, we received a vision from Indiana University, and that vision simply was to develop a project that would be pioneering in the application of technology in education. That vision, I think, that we were able to achieve, but more importantly, the challenge to us as the architect was to create a facility that would fit within the architectural character of this absolutely most magnificent campus. Our team learned a lot along the way, and I would say that we learned a great deal from Dr. Mellinger and his staff, and from Vice President Claypax and his team. As a matter of fact, one of the first things that I learned that you can do a building and design a building here at Indiana University and have an unlimited choice of exterior materials as long as it's Indiana limestone. I'm very, very proud of what the entire team has been achieved, and this has been a tremendous honor for us. And it's with the highest honor and most humble thanks that we present this facility, which I know is going to be a hallmark in education, to the Board of Trustees. Thank you very much.
Don't forget the key.
Let me present the key.
Thank you, Mr. Cryer. It's with deep pride and gratitude that I accept the Wendell W. Wright Education Building on behalf of the trustees of Indiana University. I'm really very grateful to have the opportunity to be a part of the dedication of a building that is this handsome and this important to the Bloomington campus, to Indiana University, and most of all to the state of Indiana. This building, as you know, will house the School of Education, the Center for Excellence in Education, and the Education Library. As Mr. Cryer has alluded to, one of the top priorities of Indiana University in Bloomington particularly is to preserve the architectural history and quality of the campus. And I must congratulate CRSS architects for the job that they have done in maintaining the motif of the campus through the use of Indiana limestone. It's very difficult I know, to maintain the balance of architectural history and to combine the advanced communication technology and all the other advanced technology into one facility, but I believe you all agree with me as you see more of this building that has been very successfully accomplished. This building honors an educator whose professional career spanned almost 4 decades of service to Indiana University. He was devoted to developing effective methods of educating teachers. In naming this technologically advanced building for Wendell W. Wright, we as a university renew our commitment to the advancement of education at all levels. This Wendell W. Wright Education Building is designed to serve as a national demonstration site for the latest technological applications in education, and it revolutionizes the way in which we learn and the ways in which we teach. We're confident that this splendid facility, which is already in use, will continue to serve as a working model, providing the best possible environment in which to assist educators in meeting the challenges of teaching today and well into the next centuries. The partnership between this university, between the state of Indiana and the federal governments and the private sector as well, should also serve as an important model for the future of education in this country. And we're indebted to all of the people from all of those environments for their support of this project. So, Mr. President, on behalf of the trustees of the university, I have presented you with a symbolic key to the Wendell W. Wright Education Building. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And friends, it's now a pleasure to invite 3 people who represent each of the primary users of this building to respond. We only have 1 key, but I'm going to ask them to share it. First, University Dean, School of Education, Donald Warren. Second, Director, the Center for Excellence in Education, Howard Mellinger. And Dean of University Faculties, James Neal. They'll speak without further introduction.
We are here to celebrate a beginning. As we marvel at new surroundings, new technology, new capabilities, we might ponder as well old commitments that have been renewed periodically by certain of our forebears. To them, we have debts to acknowledge, if only to be clearer about the possibilities now closer at hand. Consider Nebraska Cropsey. In 1913, the 4th person and the first woman to receive an honorary degree from Indiana University. The previous honorees had been John Watson Foster, diplomat and United States Secretary of State, David Starr Jordan, scholar and university president, stolen from IU by that upstart campus on the West Coast, and James Whitcomb Riley, the Hoosier poet. Nebraska Cropsey was an Indianapolis schoolteacher who spent a half-century in what Rudyard Kipling called a belittling profession. In conferring the degree, President William Lowe Bryan dismissed Kipling's demeaning label. As a teacher, Nebraska Cropsey had acted on a broad, if local, stage. She was a school teacher, and she had served a long term as assistant superintendent, led in the development of primary curricula, and as a reformer, inspired a city. She played a principal role in securing enactment of the state's compulsory education law in 1897. Nebraska Cropsey's profession apparently pulled her in several directions, often simultaneously, from classrooms to neighborhoods to administrative offices to the halls of the city government and the state capitol. Her students included children, of course, and also parents and politicians. It was precisely this unbelittling, edifying, demanding, courageous, routine business of teaching that caught President Bryan's notice. Teaching, he observed, baffled and challenged all the powers of science, diplomacy, and faith. It was hard work at low wage, and a daily struggle. Her obvious monument, Bryan thought, though it was somewhat less monumental and more alive than the rock-like totems usually erected to honor society's heroes and heroines, was the schools of her city. Led by the likes of Nebraska Cropsey, these schools were most successful, he concluded, when they brought up Indianapolis children ready to do the world's work and also able to sing. These may not be words that suit our taste in 1993, but they bespeak education's extraordinary, often immeasurable purposes. Just as religion is not in a country because it is built a church, Bryan advised, so too, for education to pervade, it necessarily becomes a living occupation. Learning, like teaching, turns out to demand hard work, cannot be done on the cheap, and requires also the mysterious ingredients of aspiration, dedication, talent, and opportunity. Teaching and learning, only in their compelling complexities, point us toward education that pushes and invites, sheds light and truth in multiple forms and processes, as the motto of this great public university promises, and stretches indiscriminately, as our democratic values insist, to include all the people. As our colleague Bill Reese reminds us, the purposes of education in Indiana have been subjects of intense debate throughout the state's history. The long-standing disagreements testify vividly to the depth and ecumenicity of the commitment to education's indispensability. It helps to have a place in which teachers and learners can gather and from which they can go prepared to do not only the world's work, but also the something more to which Bryan alluded. We celebrate the formal opening of this building not merely because it is new and beautiful, which it is, but also because its technological capabilities offer a different, enticing conception of educational place. Our students need not all gather here, although most probably will for a while. And they need not leave here in order to begin careers. However dispersed, those here, those around the state, those across the nation, and those in other countries can be linked not only during their preparation, but afterwards as well. These extended communities can have access to teachers and learning resources far beyond those collected here, rich as they are. Schools and all manner of other educational places can become our active partners, the sense and the reality of community thus radically expanded. Admittedly, we cannot do all these things yet. Some are more accurately described as intentions. The point is that this educational place may appear monumental, but it is not fixed. Potentially, it is mobile, dynamic, diverse, lively, like Nebraska Cropsey's monument. New disciplines and multidisciplines, new pedagogies, new curricula can be devised and tested. New students can be reached. We have great hopes and opportunities made imaginable and feasible in large measure by this new educational place. Mainly, it enables us to begin building our monument. Not the place, but its soul. Amidst the new must come something not new, but not entirely familiar either. The life of our enterprise, which is the advancement of teaching and learning, which is education.
This splendid facility and the equipment it contains fulfills a dream, a vision of what is required to prepare educators for work in the information age. It is also a testament to what can be accomplished when determined people are willing to ignore the odds and risk failure to achieve their goal. And this structure provides evidence of what can be achieved when a university, the government, and American corporations join together in the pursuit of a worthy cause. This building is dedicated to the proposition that the new information age technology will someday have an effect on education equal to the impact of the printing press on earlier generations of teachers and students. We are not technology zealots. We do not believe that technology provides a solution to all of the problems facing education. Yet neither do we believe that our educational institutions will adequately serve our students and society until we take full advantage of the powerful tools provided us by science and technology. This building is a state-of-the-art building today, but we are only at the beginning of the information age, not its conclusion. We are advantaged because we have been placed on the leading edge by our partners, but we cannot rest on what we have, or we shall surely be left behind. And finally, this building, splendid as it is, was never intended to be the goal, but rather the means to improve teaching and learning at all levels of education. We promised Congress, the General Assembly, and our corporate partners that if they gave us the tools, not only would we do a better job for our own students, but we would assist other institutions as well by demonstrating our work and by assisting others with their plans. This is the way we can share with others this special gift we have received. Thank you.
As Dean of University Libraries, I welcome this opportunity to participate in this dedication ceremony. The American author Ken Kesey wrote, "You can count the seeds in the apple, but you cannot count the apples in the seed." Today we celebrate the planting of the new Education Library. It is being nurtured, and it will grow, and it will continue to flower as one of the leading libraries in support of teaching and research in education. Its fruits will serve generations of students, teachers, and faculty as they work in a world increasingly dependent on information and new technologies. This library will serve as a model, and it will serve as a laboratory for information services connected throughout the state, the nation, and the world over expanding glass telecommunications highways. Imagine trying to drink out of a fire hose. Think about it. That is the information environment we face. This library, with its remarkable infrastructure, will provide the tools for access and the tools for filtering and effectively applying this information to our teaching, research, and service missions. I thank Dean Warren, Dr. Mellinger, and Vice President Claypax, and all the individuals throughout the university who have supported this library project through its conceptualization and its successful implementation. I acknowledge the leadership provided by Pat Steele and Gwen Pershing and all the librarians and staff who have translated our vision into reality. And I applaud the remarkable partnership drawn between the university, the governments, and the corporations in making this wonderful new library possible. The library, through this facility, is truly forging a new and fruitful partnership with the School of Education and the Center for Excellence in Education in improving education for the state, the nation, and the world.
Thank you, Jim. An important part of our ceremony is the awarding of honorary degrees. The four individuals whom we recognize today have each achieved extraordinary distinction, and you'll find a brief biography of each in your program. Candidates will be presented in alphabetical order, and I invite Professor Dwayne Kerpius to escort our first candidate, and I ask the Grand Marshal Catherine Palmer and Platform Marshal Susan Parrish to assist.
Mr. President, it's an honor to present Albert Bandura. Dr. Bandura, the David Starr Jordan Professor of Social Science in Psychology at Stanford University, is renowned for his creative achievements as scholar and researcher in the fields of social learning and moral development. His pioneering work has significantly advanced our understanding of the learning process. It is appropriate that Indiana University add to his many honors by conferring on Albert Bandura the honorary degree, Doctor of Human Letters.
Albert Bandura, Indiana University salutes you for pioneering work that sheds bright new light on the development of the mind. So, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the trustees of Indiana University, I'm proud to confer on you with honor the degree Doctor of Humane Letters with all rights and privileges. Congratulations. I ask Professor Susan Eklund to escort our next candidate for an honorary degree.
Mr. President, it is a pleasure to present R. Freeman Butts in his distinguished career at Teachers College of Columbia University for 4 decades, and now as visiting scholar at the Hoover Institution of Stanford University. Dr. Butts has earned worldwide renown for his leadership in international educational programs and for his remarkable work in advancing civic education in our nation's schools. It is appropriate that Indiana University recognize his outstanding contribution to education by conferring on R. Freeman Butts the honorary degree, Doctor of Humane Letters.
R. Freeman Butts, your vision of civic responsibility inspires new understanding of the power of education in a democratic society. So, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the trustees of Indiana University, I am proud to confer on you with honor the degree Doctor of Humane Letters with all rights and privileges. Congratulations. We do have honor. Thank you. I I ask Professor Edward Jenkinson to escort our next candidate.
Mr. President, it is an honor to present Maxine M. Green. Dr. Green is a distinguished member of the faculty of Teachers College at Columbia University. Her exploration of central issues in moral education, the learning experience, and the nature of knowledge has brought extraordinary insights that benefit all who work for the advancement of education. It is appropriate that Indiana University add to her many honors by conferring on Maxine M. Green the honorary degree Doctor of Humane Letters.
Maxine M. Green, with keen vision of the philosophical dimensions of education, you've brought vital new directions to educational scholarship and practice. So, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the trustees of Indiana University, I'm proud to confer on you, with honor, the degree Doctor of Humane Letters with all rights and privileges. Congratulations. And I now ask Professor Enid Zimmerman to escort our final candidate for an honorary degree.
Mr. President, it is a pleasure to present Theodore R. Sizer, Professor of Education at Brown University. Dr. Sizer is a leader in the reform of educational practice and administration in secondary schools. He has identified key challenges facing America's high schools, both public and private, and is renowned for the practical solutions he provides. It is appropriate that Indiana University recognize the outstanding public service of Theodore R. Sizer by conferring on him the honorary degree Doctor of Humane Letters.
Theodore R. Sizer, you have established a creative agenda for the future of American secondary education. Indiana University salutes you for your achievements. So, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the trustees of Indiana University, I'm proud to confer on you with honor the degree Doctor of Humane Letters with all rights and privileges. Congratulations. Thank you, Tim. Oh, we're proud you're here. We really are. Please join me all in one more round of applause for all four recipients of honorary degrees. To help us celebrate this festive occasion, the Indianapolis Children's Choir, directed by Ruth Dwyer, will perform the dedicatory music.
Shores revolve.
Thank you for that beautiful music. And now, for the central moment of this ceremony, the dedication. You ready? Friends, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the trustees of Indiana University, I dedicate the Wendell W. Wright Education Building. May this building be a creative environment for the advancement of teaching and learning in the service of society. May all who study and teach here be inspired by the life and the work of Wendell W. Wright and the ideals of the pioneer founders of Indiana University. Now let's hear it for the building. It's now my pleasure to introduce a special friend of Indiana University, a true hero in the United States, the Honorable John T. Myers, member of the U.S. House of Representatives. Congressman Myers has been a special friend of Indiana University for our whole state. He's led in support from Congress to appropriate $10 million in matching funds to enable the university to build this facility in countless ways. He's helped to make this a greater university, a greater state. Congressman Myers.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. President, and distinguished guests here at the Speaker's Dais, and IU, Indiana University supporters, and Hoosiers all. Isn't it great to be a Hoosier today? As every day. But getting here late, and I'm sorry that I flew in from Washington this morning because we were in session late last night. I got robed with a dark robe, and I looked at some of the other colors here, and I suggested I wish I'd been here earlier. So I got one of those bright ones. Tom suggested to me, rather, you know, you didn't work hard enough when you were in school. That's what we're here about today. And it is an honor to be invited today. The last time I was in this building, it looked quite different. There was plywood at the entryway here, wading mud to get in. Inside here, these were concrete walls, wires running all directions, and I thought, my goodness, when are they going to get this open? I know there's some discussion about getting it open a little bit earlier, but at least we're here today to open it, and I was thinking coming in today what I might say in the 3 minutes. We have a short leash in Washington, too. Sometimes we only have a minute to speak, so we learn to speak rather rapidly. But flying in today, I was thinking about today, a candidate for public office has to pass a litmus test. What is your position on right to life versus freedom of choice? Now, when I first ran for office a good many years ago, that wasn't a test, thank goodness, or I probably wouldn't be here as a congressman today. But the test back then was, what is your position on federal aid education? And my position was, yes, I'm opposed to federal intervention into education, but the equality of resources, bringing the federal interest, and we do have a federal interest, we have a national interest, we have a state interest, we have local interest, but bringing to bear on localities that may not have the taxing base, using our tax dollars to help someone less fortunate, I think it's our responsibility. So I didn't exactly try to duck it, but it was often difficult for people to understand. But today, we're doing here today what I was talking about, a cooperative effort on behalf of the private sector, bringing AT&T and others into this, and then the state and local government to the university here, then your federal tax dollars coming back. And again, I thought about just this past week, I met with a taxpayers union, and I don't vote often to satisfy those people, even though, as you probably know, I'm a very conservative member of Congress. But I vote for things like this. What our president of the day is saying is an investment in our future, investment. The taxpayers union said this is a pork barrel. Well, welcome to Indiana University's pork barrel. This is it. I'm glad we get so much into it, and I know we're going to get a lot out of it. So I take that criticism. It is your tax dollars that are being reinvested back here. But is there a better place to make that investment than in the future of our children? And one of the criticisms we get in this country today, I hear often, I'm sure you do, is why is it other countries are way ahead, particularly in elementary and secondary education? I'm not sure they are. But if they are, it's time we address that problem, and that's what this institution here, this building, is all about, that we're going to be competitive in the world. and will continue. We're on the leading edge today in research and development, but often we don't get it out where we can use it. And I hear this criticism quite often, and I talk to both businesses and researchers say, this is what we're doing. We're bringing in this new product. We got an exciting new product. The next day I'll be talking in industry. They say, we need this product. Why don't the two get together? And this is what this facility here is all about, is bringing education, the research, and the practical application of that research together so that our children and our grandchildren will be competitive in the world and be better citizens. So today I say thank you very much for inviting me to be here, to participate in this dedication of this building, and a small role that we all have had, but it's the people here who are the faculty and who study here who will really make this building of mere concrete and mortar and stone and rock and wood and metal. The people who will work here will bring it to life. So I'm happy today to be here on the day that the Wendell W. Wright Education Building, the Center for Excellence in Education, comes to life. Thank you for inviting me to share this day with you.
Thank you, John. Thank you very much. We're appreciative also to representatives of the offices of Senator Coates. Congressman McCloskey are here today. We're particularly pleased our wonderful Mayor Tommy Allison is here representing county and city officials who have done so much to make us part of the greater community. We're grateful for the generosity of foundations and corporations, including the Lilly Endowment, and I know that John Mutz is here, and a particular word of applause to John as leader of the Lilly Endowment, who's done so much for this institution and this facility. AT&T, Thompson Consumer Electronics, or Steelcase, bringing the vision of a technologically advanced teacher training facility to fruition. Our next speaker has been an extraordinary supporter of this project and of Indiana University in his capacity as vice chair of the board of AT&T, and I'm pleased to acknowledge Randy Tobias, who's an alumnus of Indiana University, and to welcome him to the lectern. Randy.
Thank you, Tom, very much. Today we are dedicating much, much more than a building. We are really dedicating a vision that has been made reality. And the vision was Howard Mellinger's some 10 years ago as he imagined a future in which technology would be an everyday servant of education. And he believed that Indiana University could and should lead the way. In 1984, nearly 10 years ago, my good friend, the late George Pinnell, called me and subsequently brought Howard to my office in New Jersey and introduced me to Howard and to his dream. And I confess, Howard, that it was not love at first sight. But as I began to more fully understand the enormously powerful implications of Howard's vision, I too was swept up by the opportunity to participate in both improving education and in demonstrating the role that technology could play in opening up new worlds of knowledge to children and adults. And so I committed AT&T to join the pursuit of this dream, and that is a decision I have never regretted. AT&T and our corporate co-sponsors, Thompson Consumer Electronics and Steelcase, have each contributed funds and equipment and expertise to help develop a state-of-the-art environment for the Center of Excellence in Education. AT&T's commitment to education, and my own, are driven by the realization that the future of the U.S. economy and American business are tied to the skills of our people and thus to the quality of our educational system. Old methods, however tried and true, won't do in an information age marked by global competition. New times demand bold new methods to improve America's education, to improve the way in which we deliver education. And AT&T is deeply committed to this sweeping change. And today the Center
is a national showcase for educational technology. Within this building is the means for mixing audio and video and graphics and text to make math and science and history and language come alive for students at every level. And thanks to technology, the center's exploration of new teaching methods are not confined to just the walls of this building. Audio and video conferencing make possible distance learning on a national and indeed a global scale. The Wendell W. Wright Building and the Center for Excellence in Education prove the value of partnerships between academia and industry. And this landmark building and breakthrough program would not have been possible without a close collaboration among educators, government, and business and technological experts. Together, through technology and through the teacher's imagination, we will discover new and better ways to educate our children and to increase many a student's delight in the miracle of learning. And so on behalf of AT&T and the other corporate co-sponsors, I want to thank Howard and the faculty and staff of Indiana University and of the School of Education for permitting us to be a part of this marvelous experiment, this courageous and inspired vision. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Randy. The capabilities of the Wendell W. Wright Education Building allow faculty, staff, and students to reach out, to interact with individuals from a variety of institutions, network systems located in the next room as well as across the nation, indeed around the world. And this interaction affords new opportunities to explore the challenges of teaching and of learning. Our final participants in this ceremony represent the diversity of those who benefit from this facility. First to speak is Charles Tesconi, Dean of the School of Education at American University.
It's an honor for me to be a part of this ceremony, and I thank my friend Don Warren for thinking of me when he put this program together, and for giving me the opportunity to get some ideas to take back home when we start on our own project of getting our own education building. Charles Dickens observed that every new and eagerly expected garment ever put on probably fell a trifle short of the wearer's expectation. Those privileged to work in this magnificent building might find it on occasion falling a trifle short here and there, now and then. But to the visitor, I assure you, and to the student, I guess, the student who passes through this facility, this new garment signals a wealth of resources, and it evokes a sense of authority through its physical stature alone. And it reminds us that our universities still are vast repositories of the vital intellectual resources of this country, that they serve as important gatekeepers to the professions, to careers, and increasingly to economic well-being. That they serve, too, in the shaping of individual character and in the making of social policy. The perception of richness and the reminders it occasions also begs an important, and I think, important moral question. Namely, how do we, individually and collectively, justify and protect the privileged pursuit of teaching and research in a world filled with suffering of the underprivileged? I have at least one answer in the form of an admonition, I guess. And so, on behalf of all of those who look to teaching and research as weapons against social ills and injustice, and mindful of the great expectations this building and the wonderful tradition of the School of Education at Indiana imposes on this faculty, I ask this faculty, nevertheless, to show us how to prepare exemplary teachers, and in other specific ways, how to promote and advance learning for all the people.
Prepare exemplary teachers and promote the advancement of learning for all people.
为全人类培养模范教师，促进知识进步。
Prepara educadores ejemplares y promueve el avance del aprendizaje para toda la gente.
Yan wala le ngai chugao to ba ne dialogue kingwani.
Prepare exemplary teachers and promote the advancement of learning for all people. Thank you.
Thank you for those inspiring words, and we thank all of you for being with us, sharing this celebration. Our thanks to the members of the Indianapolis Children's Choir, the Brass Quintet, for the excellent music they provided. Special thanks to Jerry Souza, the multimedia designer at the Center for Excellence in Education, the graduate students, William Sugar and Karen Furman, for creating the multimedia presentation shown at the start of the ceremony and be shown again during the reception. We thank the greeters, the tour guides identified by green ribbons that they're wearing. We thank members of the dedication committee who planned and organized this occasion and the wonderful events all during the week. The names of the committee members are on the last page of the program and was chaired by Frederick Smith, Director of External Relations in the School of Education. And Fred, please do stand for our applause. Immediately following the dedication, you're all invited to tour the Wendell W. Wright Education Building. Enjoy refreshments located on each floor. The greeters, the tour guides will help you. Please do remain seated for the recessional of the platform party and the faculty. Thank you very much.
You have just seen the dedication ceremony of the Wendell W. Wright Education Building, which was held on March 26, 1993.